On your way to success. Second video, and this one is dedicated to actual mistakes I heard last Friday. That is to say, actual mistakes that have found their way onto the briefing cards of some of the students we heard all together last Friday. Now, let me repeat that I thank all students for contributing, for making the effort of doing these oral presentations, and that commenting on mistakes doesn't mean that I'm negative. So the reason why I'm making this video is just to explain to everyone, to all the students in the two classes I teach on Fridays, well, the kind of words that some students find hard to pronounce. And I guess that if this or that word is difficult for one student, it may well be difficult for quite a lot of you, in fact. So, let's have a look at some of the words, just some of the words, that were not pronounced correctly, that weren't stressed correctly. Reconciliation, persuasive, religious, Thomas Paine. This was, okay, the week where we were working on Thomas Paine's Common Sense. So, well, you need to be able to pronounce the name of the author correctly. Appendix, colonies, colonizing, doubt, debt, approach, diplomacy, unnatural, succession, criticize, decisions, entitled, emphasize, knowledge, monarchy. Now, I've just said them like this, in a batch, so to speak. Later on in this same video, I will read some excerpts from Thomas Paine's Common Sense, and I've chosen these excerpts so that the key words, the most useful words, the most important words in Thomas Paine's Common Sense can be stressed properly so that you can see how you should pronounce them. Now, regarding some of the individual sounds I heard last Friday, let's take a few examples. A lot of French students find it hard pronouncing the H's correctly, like high. You don't say I. Whether it's the adjective meaning, okay, tall, or whether it's saying hello. You say hello, high. It's a high tower. And if you don't pronounce this H properly, well, again, you need to train. Repeat words with H's in them as often as possible. Hurry up! It's high time we went, okay? Do that. The, of course, in them, those, for instance. Yes, the word asylum. It's not asylum, it's not asylum, it's asylum, okay? It's a S and an I. Regarding coming back to words that were not stressed properly, biblical, the Bible, you say the Bible, but the adjective is biblical, so that it's not biblical, it's biblical, okay? Readers is stressed on the first syllable. Follow is stressed on the first syllable. This one is interesting. You must pronounce analysis. The verb is analyze, but the noun is analysis. The English word for independence is independence, not independency, and you must pronounce it independence. It's stressed on the third, dependence, okay? Just one word about stress. I talked a lot about stressing words properly in the first video. Now, this is a good example. In a word that is apparently constituted of 4 syllables, independence, French is not a stressed language. It's not as stressed as English. I mean, all languages are stressed, of course. But English is much more. I mean, in English, stressing words counts much more than in French. In French you say indépendance. There is a stress, but you hear all the syllables. In English, you must pronounce the stressed syllable much more than the others. Independence. If I exaggerated, I could say that the only thing you need to hear in independence is pen. Pendant. Now, enough examples because I could go on and on. Now I'm going to read excerpts from Thomas Paine's Common Sense, and here they are. The first excerpt is from part 1. To say that the Constitution of England is a union of three powers reciprocally checking each other is farcical. Either the words have no meaning or they are flat contradictions. To say that the Commons is a check upon the King presupposes two things. First, that the King is not to be trusted without being looked after, or, in other words, that a thirst for absolute power is the natural disease of monarchy. Secondly, that the Commons, by being appointed to that purpose, are either wiser or more worthy of confidence than the Crown. In this excerpt I have just read aloud, I will just take two examples. One is the example of one individual sound that a lot of students find hard. Crown. This is a diphthong in ow, so it's not kron, it's crown, okay? Another word which was often mispronounced last Friday is monarchy. In monarchy you need to stress on the first syllable, monarchy. And once you do that, well then, you hardly hear the R. For instance, it's not monarchy, no, it's monarchy. Meaning that you don't hear the R sound at all, in a way. Second excerpt from the beginning of part 2. There is another and greater distinction for which no truly natural or religious reason can be assigned, and that is the distinction of men into kings and subjects. In that excerpt, I will focus again on one individual sound and one word that you need to stress properly. The sound is the short E in king. In English, you don't say a king. It's not king. It's not king. It's not the French E. It's much shorter. It's a short E. It's king. It's almost an king. If you say king, you are much closer to what most English native speakers say than if you pronounce it the French way. The adjective I would like to talk about is religious. Religious, it's stressed on the second syllable. Le. The only syllable you really need to hear is lig. Religious. Third excerpt. Government by kings was first introduced into the world by the heathens, from whom the children of Israel copied the custom. It was the most prosperous invention the devil ever set on foot for the promotion of idolatry. The word I would like to comment on is government. And here again, the stress is on government. It's not government. Most students still learning English will get this wrong by pronouncing it closer to the French model. Government. No, it's government. Government. You only hear ga, in fact. Government. Okay? Fourth excerpt. Hither have they fled, not from the tender embraces of the mother, but from the cruelty of the monster. And it is so far true of England that the same tyranny which drove the first emigrants from home pursues their descendants still. The comment I would like to make about this fourth excerpt, only from the perspective of pronunciation, is about England. Last Friday, I heard some students who could not pronounce England, Britain, or America or the United States correctly. Now, of course, this is part of the vocabulary you need to be perfect about. Your English can't be faulty on these very, 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 very common words. America, the United States, Britain, the British, England, the English, Australia, Canada, okay? So all the names of the English-speaking countries need to be pronounced correctly. Fifth excerpt, and this is the last one, but it's longer than the other. It's an excerpt from part 2. The nearer any government approaches to a republic, the less business there is for a king. It is somewhat difficult to find a proper name for the government of England. Sir William Meredith calls it a republic, but in its present state it is unworthy of the name because the corrupt influence of the crown, by having all the places in its disposal, hath so effectually swallowed up the power and eaten out the virtue of the House of Commons, the republican part in the Constitution, that the government of England is nearly as monarchical as that of France or Spain. Men fall out with names without understanding them. For it is the republican and not the monarchical part of the Constitution of England which Englishmen glory in, that is to say, the liberty of choosing in a House of Commons from out of their own body. And it is easy to see that when republican virtue fails, slavery ensues. Why is the Constitution of England sickly? But because monarchy hath poisoned the republic, the crown hath engrossed the commons. The words I would like to insist on are republic, government again, monarchy, and last, not least, House of Commons. Now this is, of course, an important notion. So this is the end, at last, of the second video in the series, and this was about some of the mistakes that were heard in oral presentations of Thomas Paine's Common Sense. Have a nice day.